Good evening, and welcome to Midvalley Bible Church's virtual prayer meeting for Wednesday, July 28th, 2021. My name is Doug Hornock, and I'm the pastor at Midvalley Bible Church. I'm recording tonight's devotional on Sunday afternoon because tomorrow morning, Connie and I are going to be boarding a plane headed to Tulsa, Oklahoma. We're headed there to first see my sister and her husband in Wichita, Kansas, Greg and Susan Moyer. Then we're going to see our son and his wife who live in Tulsa along with their 3 little girls. And then later in the week, we're headed to Texarkana for the wedding of our niece on Saturday. Lord willing, our plans are to be back on Monday and plenty of time for family week. And so because I'll be missing Sunday next week, Pastor Lee Whitworth, a good friend of ours, is going to be preaching. He was the pastor for many years at the Payson Bible Church, and I know that you'll really appreciate him, so I want to encourage you to be in church next Sunday. Last night, the headline on KSL.com caught my attention, and I want to read a portion of that article. The headline read, "Messy Grand Teton Camp Draws Bear, Idaho Woman Fined." Now, I love the Grand Tetons. I love Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and Yellowstone National Park. Connie and I go up there every fall for a pastor's retreat in Jackson Hole, hosted by the Jackson Hole Bible College. And we always have a wonderful time, and we're able to see the beautiful scenery up there as well as some of the wildlife. But this particular article, as I said, caught my attention, and it read in part, "A judge has ordered an Idaho woman to pay over $5,800 for leaving trash out that attracted a grizzly bear to her campsite in Wyoming's Grand Teton National Park. Wildlife officials had to tranquilize the bear and move it by boat elsewhere in the park in the hope that tasting human food won't make the animal a recurring danger to people. Officials warned that the bear might have to be killed if it's involved in a similar problem again. Other campers, according to the article, shot photos and videos of the bear rummaging through garbage and drink left unattended on June 13th at the campsite of the 50-year-old woman from Parma, Idaho, according to the statement and court documents. Signs at the campground warn campers to store food in vehicles or outdoor lockers to avoid attracting bears. U.S. Magistrate Judge Mark Harmon convicted the woman of improper food storage, a misdemeanor. The restitution he ordered Tuesday would cover the cost of relocating the grizzly and having to use a GPS collar to track the bear. More than 700 grizzlies roam the Yellowstone region of Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming. And here's the part that caught my attention. Grand Teton Superintendent Chip Jenkins said, "Irresponsible behaviors have consequences, and many times it is the wildlife that pays the ultimate price." I want you to listen to that statement again. Irresponsible behaviors have consequences, and many times it's the wildlife that pays the ultimate price. Among the many lessons I wish that people would learn, and a lesson I want to emphasize this evening, is simply this. My behavior has an impact on others and has consequences beyond myself. You see, not only do we reap what we sow, we can also cause others to suffer because of the choices we make. A bad choice by a father or mother regarding their marriage can have devastating consequences on children. A decision or a spoken word made in haste or anger can have seemingly irreversible consequences. Paul put it this way in Galatians 6, beginning with verse 7. He says, "Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. Whoever sows to please their flesh, from the flesh will reap destruction. Whoever sows to please the Spirit, from the Spirit will reap eternal life. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Now, what Paul is simply saying is this: every choice brings with it a consequence. And that consequence impacts not only ourselves, but also others. Let me mention several truths about Paul's statement regarding the laws of harvest that hopefully no one can disagree with. Number one, we reap the same harvest as the seeds we sow. Now that's pretty obvious. If you plant potatoes, you're not going to reap watermelon. If you sow corn, you're not going to reap cucumbers. If you sow lettuce, you're not going to reap tomatoes. If you misbehave in the area of your finances, that's the area of your life that is going to be a mess. Second, we always reap in a different season than we sow. Consequences are not immediate. Impatient people don't make good farmers. The sun, water, seed, and soil all have to work together over time to bring about a crop from the earth. New crops don't creep up overnight. We have to be patient. And sometimes people, when they sow seeds they ought not be sowing, think, well, all is well, because they didn't experience the harvest right away. And in the end, they're sadly mistaken. I think the third law of harvest is this: we always reap more than we sow. I've always been amazed at what just a handful of tiny seeds can yield. Seeds are small, they're seemingly insignificant, but over time they can grow into a bountiful crop. That lesson was driven home to me 42 years ago when I was pastoring a church in North Dakota. I planted there my first garden. This was a farming community, and it was expected that Connie and I would have a garden. And I made the mistake, because I love tomatoes, of purchasing 64 tomato plants. And that fall, we had more tomatoes than we could eat, can, or freeze. And the lesson is that a little bit of sin, just a little bit of sin, can yield a boatload of heartache. And the fourth and final lesson is this: we can't do anything about last year's harvest, but we can about this year's. Some of you no doubt have made poor choices and decisions in the past. And what's past is past. You can't change last year's harvest, but you can learn from it and use what you learned to plant wisely now, and then care for your crop throughout its growth. And so with that devotional thought before us this evening, let's now go to prayer.